All right. How's it going, everybody? As you can tell, I sound like myself completely. I'm still getting up there, but hopefully rounding out to be 100% soon. It's been a while. I
Yeah.
was in Chicago the previous week, so I demanded that we not have an episode recorded. Um, but no, I definitely miss talking basketball with my buddy here. Before we get any further, how have you been? I know you've watched a lot of Mavs games, and we're about to cover that, but
Yeah.
um, do you have any regrets about the season now that it's coming to a close? What's happening?
Regrets? No, I honestly this season has gotten better like from the start. Well, it's been a lot of stretches, but I feel this has been a good season. We've seen so much stuff. We saw the in-season tournament. Like remember that? That feels like it was years ago. So much has happened this season, and I mean, I've enjoyed it. I'm really sad it's gonna end. Like the playoffs coming. I just told you off air. I was like the playoffs are coming, which means it's gonna end, which makes me sad, but it's definitely it is time for the playoffs. That's what I'm excited for. So, and
Yeah,
I'm
me
gonna be
too.
watching a lot of basketball now because I got this. I don't know. Oh, got my rolled my
Oh,
ankle really bad, so I'm
Diego,
like
nobody wanted to see that, man. Viewers,
I'm
I apologize. He pulled this off
yep
before we even wrote our script down, so it's unbelievably crazy. I'm so mad at Diego right now.
yeah.
That
So
sucks.
I'll be watching a lot.
Yeah. How's your league doing? Are you guys like contending for the playoffs?
We were undefeated until this last game, but we only had 5 guys, and the other team had like 9. So it was
Dang.
tough. These guys were some crazy shooters for no reason, but I don't know if I'm out for the season. I have to check if I haven't broken a bone, but I'm not sure about ligaments and tendons and whatnot, so I'm gonna try and get that checked. But aside from that, doing
He's such a
okay.
baby, guys. He rolled his ankle and he's already worried about like
Nah,
tearing the
man.
ligaments.
I landed on a guy's foot. That was like I jumped for a contest, landed on the guy's foot, and it felt like I got shot. So it was scary, but we're chilling. I got crutches as well, so I can kind of finagle around.
Rest up, my guy.
Yeah.
Um, Definitely take a lot of rest and care. I've rolled my ankle plenty of times, and like once you roll it once, it's
Hmm.
really easy to roll it again and
Slippery
again and
slope.
again. I've learned it the hard way too many times as well.
Yeah.
But hopefully, fingers crossed, no ligaments. The
Yeah.
team needs their best player back, so I'm sure you're itching to get back on the court. But
Hmm.
um, yeah, no, we were just talking about the Mind the Game podcast. Ever since that's come out, like I've learned
Amazing.
so much about the spacing of the game and like how the leagues transition now.
Yeah.
So very very cool basketball talk.
Hmm.
But in the meantime, we're going to cover some games. I've been watching a couple games, like doing this little break, you say, like when I haven't got a chance to record a podcast. So, first up on the list, I took a look at some of the Orlando Magic and the Bulls matchups, and then looking looking at this latest one, it was very very frustrating to watch. But as a Bulls fan, I just got to temper expectations for this year. Realistically, what is it? We still have a shot because we're like the ninth seed, so we're in the play-in. We have to face the Hawks, who has Trey Young coming back today. So yay. And then if we win that, we face the loser, the Sixers and the Heat. And I don't like that matchup for the Bulls
Yeah.
at all because if it's the Sixers, that's with Embiid.
Hmm.
Vucevic is not guarding Embiid. Our
No,
best defender is probably Javante Green. I don't like that at all.
like
So
6'5".
basically, I've lost all hope in this team for this season. Next season, when they get Lonzo and Levine, I'm actually really excited.
Yeah.
So I we just need to add bigs and
Hmm.
ideally start Drummond, trade away Vucevic because I can't stand that man on defense
Spicy
or on
take.
offense sometimes. But like he'll have his good and bad games on offense, but like in defense, it's just like, why am I
Hmm.
watching this guy?
Yeah.
So um, that's probably my only source of frustration with the Bulls on the current lineup. But they're very limited on their roster right now and trying to make do. So yeah, nah, I'm a Bulls fan still, but very very hard to root for them right now. And this game kind of felt that way. Magic were up by a lot. I think as many as like 17 in the first quarter, and the game really felt like either the Magic were up 17 or the Magic were up single digits. Like the
Hmm.
Bulls had like several moments in the second half, but they'll bring it to like 9 or 6 or 5 or 4, and the Magic would come right up, be up by 12, be up by 17. Then it go down to Magic being up by 5. And with 3 minutes to go, I really thought the Bulls had it. Like they were going to pull off the upset. And then Jalen Sugg kept hitting threes. That's all I remember. Like every
Mm,
time the Magic needed it, he'd hit a three. Banchero would like just be him. Like he is the primary option in that offense, and
yeah.
he was torching us as well. And I think the combination of their shooting, like Markel Fultz, like they just have a lot of guys. And I think the common misconception with the Magic is like they're a very defensive minded team, which is true. But I also think their offense is underrated, and you cannot key in on one guy. Maybe you got to key in on Bancho, but then
Hmm.
you got to deal with Fultz, Suggs,
What?
Anthony,
Oh,
like
oh, oh,
Isaac, like a lot of great guys over there. You
Wagner.
okay?
I was. I'm trying to think of the guy's name.
Oh yeah, yeah. Wagner's insane too. Like
What's it?
how did I not even mention? Like he brings a lot of energy to that offense, and like he's kind of like
Hmm.
he's kind of if you want to think of Şengün on the Rockets, he's kind of like that for the Magic. That's who reminds me of when he plays. But
Well,
it seems like he's a lot more feistier, like on the
mhm.
defense and like offensive rebounding.
Well,
So
yeah,
like
yeah.
very physical guy, great on defense. But go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking like the first name I thought of was Moritz Wagner, who's like he played at Michigan and it was on the national championship, like in that national championship game in like 2018. And he's a reasonable center, but he has a brother, his brother that's also
Franz
on the
Wagner.
Magic. Franz Wagner, that was his
Yeah.
name. Okay. No, I like him a lot too. Very athletic, long, quick guard. I think the biggest thing for them is just they're a good defensive team, but they're like their offense isn't good because they're so young. They haven't developed those skills yet. I mean, Paolo Banchero isn't that good of a 3 point shooter. I mean, your veteran is like Joe Ingles, who's just running on fumes. I feel like at this point, like he just got that bag to kind of run that same Van Vliet role that he's doing in Houston, sort of bring an adult in the room.
This is actually really embarrassing. So actually, the guy Wagner's actually 26 years old, and it
Yeah.
actually is Moritz Wagner. I thought it was Franz Wagner all this time. So we
Uh,
got our Wagners mixed up there. But
oh yeah.
keep going.
Uh yeah. So I think because I'm really surprised by the Magic, and I think they could. Their coach Jamal Mosley, I could see him being coach of the year just because me, I honestly would not have told you Magic in the playoffs. I would have said play-in maybe. So for them to be for sure in these Eastern Conference playoffs is very interesting to me. And also the Orlando Magic, like that song has been going crazy, and I love it. So they have my like impartial support. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, and I can't get the Wagners out of my head right now. I just saw
Yeah.
they're both on the same team, so that makes it even more confusing and probably good for the Magic that they have both of them on
Hmm.
their team.
Yeah.
But I mean, back to your point on like what they can do on the ceiling. Like they still have room to grow, which I think
So
is
much.
exciting for the team's future. But um, I mean, I could see this team like beat the Cavaliers who've like
Oh yeah.
lost three straight.
Hmm.
Um, they could probably take on the Knicks. Like the Knicks look insane right now with Jalen Brunson, like
Hmm.
playing like a top 10 player. But I think the Magic have enough forces where like they can get it a defensive slugfest, and like at that point any team could win. So
Hmm.
I could see them in the right matchups make it to the conference finals. That's a wild to think about with the trajectory of this team, and it's like
Wait, I'm gonna look at.
because look at the standings
Yeah,
right
I
now.
was about to do
It's
that.
it's like Boston's the one, and they're
Hmm.
gonna be the one. Then you have Milwaukee, New York, Orlando, Cavaliers, Pacers. So
Hmm.
first round matchup for the Magic, unless like the Pacers sneak
Cavs,
in
but then they have to
somehow.
play the Celtics.
Well, it
Hmm.
depends. It depends really, right? Um, Most likely, yeah. But if Boston somehow gets upset, it's a totally different story.
Oh
So,
yeah.
um, yeah, scratch that.
Yeah.
I was thinking about they would face the winner of the 5 seed, and then sorry, they would face the 5 seed, and then the New York Knicks. But totally got that mixed up. Doesn't work that way in fantasy matchup. It does where they have the setup like 1 through 6,
Perfectly.
like they don't do low and high seeds. So took me
Hmm.
took me a while to get my bearings there, but um, scratch that. They're not going to the conference finals. They could, um, but more realistically, I could see this team advance to the second round. Um, I think there are levels and tiers where it's like once they run into the Celtics and maybe the Bucks,
Yeah.
I can see them lose. Like I see those two teams as like clear cut above the rest. Now,
Mm.
granted, with the Giannis injury, that is
Oh
going
yeah.
to be a big question. Like on how do the Bucks fare without him? But I think even without Giannis, they've been great defensively. Where I think the Bucks have more offensive firepower
Hmm.
than the Magic,
Yeah.
and like I wouldn't put the Magic up there right now this year, but they have a great future.
Hmm. Yeah. And like we were talking about off air, Jonathan Isaac. I think he's like stats wise, he's one of the better defenders in the league. Um,
Yeah,
off his like advanced stats or whatever. And it just feels really weird because I remember playing with him like 2K like 18, and he was just a rookie or a young player, and it still feels like he's a young player because I haven't seen him play in years. Like he hasn't played a full season in years, so I'm interested to see that. Uh, I think this team in the future could be really good, especially with Bankero, Franz Wagner, Jalen Suggs. Like even just that starting lineup is pretty solid. Wendell
and Wendell
Carter.
Carter can shoot the three as well. Like great
Yeah,
rebounder, can shoot. Like they were causing a bunch of problems on the boards as well. Like I remember the only person who could even hold a candle was like Andre Drummond because
yeah.
he's just him. Like on the boards, like
Mm.
if that's Andre Drummond's one responsibility, he's gonna kill it there.
Oh yeah.
But back to your point on Isaac, like I think there's a new crop of wing defenders that are coming up.
Hmm.
That's just crazy to see. Like you see McDaniels out of the Timberwolves,
Herb
and you see
Jones.
Lou Dort. Herb Jones was the guy I
Love
was
Herb
thinking of
Jones.
as well, and
Yeah.
then Jonathan Isaac. And it's just like wow, like it's crazy to see this new crop of wing defender because then you're like going into the season, you're like, oh, it's Kawhi and like and Paul George, and maybe prime Clay Thompson, and that's about it for the
Mhm.
wings.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's a lot more than that, but those are like the first three names you think of when you talk about great wing defenders. And I
Hmm.
think um, those four we mentioned are right up there. They've grown their own in these ways. And then with the Magic, it seems like everybody plays on the string too, where they're like reading passes. Even like Gary Harris, like
Hmm.
he's just getting his feet wet on the Magic. Always loved watching him play. He's
Yeah.
just like he's just had terrible luck with the mix of injuries and didn't pan out in Denver, but he's a great player. Like he was intercepting passes left and right off DeRozan. And it's really hard to get a beat on DeRozan because like he pump fakes so much. He like draws he has just so much gravity to him as an offensive player.
Hmm.
So like it's really hard to anticipate the kick out pass from a player like that. And they were just reading everything. This is like a team that's well equipped defensively to handle any matchups. So they're going to be a tough out for sure in these playoffs.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm interested to see how it goes for them. They're a very interesting team.
Yep. Next up, a game fresh in my memory. The best way to summarize this is the Kings absolutely choked this one. They were right in this game with the Thunder. And I think right now, if I'm looking at the standings, they are, oh, let's see here. Yes, it's the
Seventh,
right
eighth.
conference.
They're eighth.
They're eighth now, and they would have been on the border between 6 and 7. And I think they fully squandered their chances with that loss
Hmm.
because Phoenix lost two straight, and you're trying to keep up with New Orleans, who's looked like a juggernaut lately since I've underestimated them. I'll take the blame on that. Um, but in this game of the Thunder, they're right with this team, like late in the fourth quarter, 5 minutes left, like, and it was impressive to see. And then all of a sudden, once the waning moments hit, like they're just jacking up threes. Like it was like the only one who
Yeah.
was making threes was Ellis, great player who's like really had a
Keon
breakout
Ellis.
season for them. Yes, and like Fox missed the second free throw, missed the three, and he's usually like clutch. There's a reason why he was like
Yeah.
Mr. Clutch last year, and it was just like
Hmm.
it was just an odd sequence of events, and like when you see like Chet Holmgren like locking down Sabonis, it's just like
Yeah.
it's not that kind of night. Like Chet Holmgren had a great game. Um,
Hmm.
Shy didn't really do too much. Like they did a great job on Shy actually, in my opinion, but late in the fourth quarter. But
Mm.
just like they just had they just panicked in like the waning moments, and this is a team where I'm really worried about them because they went from holding their own against Golden State, forcing a game seven, to looking like this the season after, and that is not what I expected when I looked at the Kings. I'm like last year having this conversation. I'm like, this is a team with a bright future, and
Hmm.
unless it's against the Lakers, these guys aren't showing up. So, um,
Yeah.
they're probably the team I'm like gonna bet the most against going into these playoffs as like a team that can first make it out of the play-in. And even if they do, like survive a first round series with the rest of like the top six in the Western Conference right now.
Yeah. That, like we've always said, the Western Conference is just a bloodbath, and I guess I don't want to say that it was a fluke last year what they did, but it's just the way so many new teams have come up in the West, teams that last year no one thought was going to do anything, and even then you still have teams like the Grizzlies who next year once they have John Morant, Triple J, everyone back there, the Rockets who might keep getting better. It's going to be really tough to compete in this conference next year. And then I was just looking at the stats for this game as well. And then surprisingly, the Kings won the rebounding battle, but they lost the points in the paint battle, which is very interesting. But yeah, I I don't
I
know.
mean, but that's like the Thunder's full game. I'm not surprised by that because there's a reason why they play like Jalen Williams at the five. Like
Oh
you
yeah.
want to give out the impression that like everybody's a shooter, so
Hmm.
then you have more access to the paint. So I'm really not surprised by that. Where you look at like players like Shy, like
Hmm.
Jalen Williams, like Chet, they get most of their baskets from inside the paint.
Yeah.
Whereas like with the Kings, they have a lot of 3-point shooters and they
Hmm.
like to go fast. So like I'm really not surprised about the disparity there.
Yeah. I guess we probably talked about this before, but like the way the Thunder have just been able to play a really spaced out game because they have guys who can always shoot, and that gives Shea the easiest drives. He's the guy who has the most drives in the league, shoots a lot of free throws because of it. So yeah, I would agree that is part of their game. I didn't think about that.
I mean, I didn't watch the first half of this game. I was just seeing the fourth quarter because,
Hmm.
like, in these games now, to me, like, the fourth quarter is going to be more indications of like where's a team in their clutch moments, especially as the
Yeah.
playoffs near. And apparently, in the first half, like Mike Brown mentioned, their ball movement was amazing. Second half was kind of like individualities, and if I looked at their last four possessions, I could be like, oh, yep, jacked up a three there, jacked up a three there,
Yeah.
like forced a shot that they didn't need to, and then like a tough hook shot. Like if you have a contested hook shot, like you probably could have got a better shot in the possession, and you're just trying to
Mhm.
throw something up at the basket at that end of the shot clock. And for a Kings team, you can't play like that. Like for for a coach that came from Golden State, and
True.
for a team that like made their living off of playing at fast pace and keeping guys on their toes, like you need to see the value of like being fast but taking smart shots, and I think they were, like, tinkering on the wrong end of, like, playing too fast and then rushing
Hmm.
their shots. So, that's always a recipe for disaster. Like, granted, like, in a 2-for-1 situation, I understand it, but
Yeah.
if you're going, like, 3 or 4 possessions playing like that, you're playing desperate, and then teams can other opposing teams can, like, see that and play off of that.
Yeah. I guess it's a pitfall of like the kind of like everyone says no, it's lead is safe, but then you kind of might propel yourself into just chucking up threes, being like if we make a few straight, then we're kind of in this game. But then it's and with the 2-for-1 as well, it's sort of like when you're shooting a shot or deciding what shot to take as a team, you have to make sure that not only is it, obviously you have the time to shoot the shot and whatnot, it's a good shot, but that like it's a shot that that player also is in a rhythm for, and you don't just chuck up a shot like you were saying. So you have to
Unless
make
you're Dame Lillard, who hit a sweet step
yeah,
back three-pointer on the Magic to pull them up by 14 as the first
man,
half wanes. But yes, to your point, um, you want to take smart shots, and I just feel like the Thunder made things look easy for them, and like when the game counts, like you want to you want to take the quality shots with the players you need to as
Hmm.
well. And I did see that the officials missed two calls, but if I'm the Kings, I don't care.
Yeah,
Like like you already done your complaining. Like Mike Brown had a full press conference to talk about this.
yeah,
Like now it's time. Like you can't rely on the refs. Like okay, like um and that just reminded me of like when LeBron was talking about his game 7 block today,
that
like
was
how he never
nuts.
wanted to goaltend. Like though the way he broke that down was insane.
No,
But
like, yeah, it was very interesting. I just thought he did that like straight off the dome. Like he was just like, I have to do this now. But like there was planning. He's telling his guys not to foul in that situation. That's like giga brain, like super smart thinking. I think.
yeah, but forcing Iguodala to alter shots, like
Hmm.
that was the only way you could get that block. Like I didn't think of it like that. And like in your head, like him explaining like why he needs to do a full court sprint in the first place was very nuanced. Like that's the kind of things I've enjoyed like hearing LeBron like on this podcast for sure. I don't like all the whining he's had, like on
Yeah.
like people blaming him and things like that. And hey, I get it, but like uh, but it's just the part of LeBron I don't like. Like he
Hmm.
can do whatever he wants. He's on the Mount Rushmore of like players of
Yeah.
all time. But like, yeah, that was the only thing I disliked in that podcast. Everything else, just beautiful insights. But
Hmm.
um, weird tangent. But like that was meant to describe like he didn't want the refs calling them for goaltending there.
No. Yeah.
And um, in a situation like this, like it wasn't that the Kings lost because of the refs. They lost because they panicked, and
Hmm.
you can never do that.
Yeah.
So pretty
Ye-
much, like I said in the summary of this game, Thunder and Kings looked like a great game until like the last 3 minutes, and it's like, okay, why did I stay up to watch this? If I knew
Yeah.
it was gonna end like this is so anticlimactic, horrible.
Yeah, that's the tough stuff because we both live in Michigan. We're in the Eastern time zone. Any of those Western Conference games, if we're watching that till the end of regulation, that's 12:30 our time. So we're out here putting in the work to give this analysis.
Yeah, I want to move to the West, dude. Like
Hmm.
that would be amazing if I could just watch games and have it end at like 9 p.m. That's
Yeah.
kind of a healthy time, and then go to work. That'd be
Hmm.
amazing. But
Yeah.
alas, we need to talk about the Bucks and Celtics. Um, what did you see in this matchup? The Bucks look really good right now without Giannis so far.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing about this matchup to start was that Pat Bev was in the starting lineup over Malik Beasley. And I feel like this has taken, I don't want to say too long, but if you have Damian Lillard, Malik Beasley guarding the point guard and shooting guard of any team, I don't have a lot of confidence that your defense is going to be good. So that's why I was very happy to see that, especially Pat Bev, Wabanzi Valley High School alum at some point. So it was good. It was good in that sense, and I was surprised with how they were just hitting shots compared to the Celtics that being the best team in the league, they weren't hitting the same kind of shots, and they were on a heater at least to start. And once it got to like a 15, 20 point lead in the first quarter, second quarter, I moved on. I was like, I don't know if there's much else to watch here. And Brooke Lopez of like 21 points, he had like 14 with like four threes in like 5 minutes. That was crazy, and it's all like super far away, like 5 feet away from the 3 point line, splash mountain shots, crazy.
You know what's crazy?
Yeah.
The fact that both teams combined for like two free throw attempts
That
for the
too.
whole game. I
Least
saw that
amount of free
stat on
throws.
Instagram and I was like, did that actually happen? That
Mhm.
was and guess who shot the only two free throws?
Portis?
Giannis, and he didn't even play the full game.
Yeah,
Like that's so crazy. So
that's
crazy to me.
crazy. Yeah, it's surprising. A very interesting game for the Celtics to lose, but I mean, I don't want to say you could pack it in now for them, but there's there's no way they can lose anything right now. I think they should keep locking in just to they still need to improve in the playoffs, so that's interesting. And then Drew Holiday actually signed an extension this year or today for like a 4 year, 135 mil. So very interesting news story there. Good locking up for the Celtics. He's a huge guy on their defense, and I think he'll be huge for years to come. Even though he's kind of old.
So if you're looking at this latest matchup,
Hmm.
do you think the Bucks can take the Celtics in like a game of seven?
In a game seven, if they have the same exact game they had last night, yes. I feel like if they're just on a heater playing the best basketball they've played, yeah. But again, that takes some luck.
Like heater, are you talking about like if they're streaky with their threes?
Well, yeah, like if they're streaking like a good way. If we're talking about just one game, like game seven, Bucks Celtics, like in 2021, yeah, 2021, no, 2022, 2022. So yeah, they uh, aside from that, I just think the Celtics are better, even though the Bucks have the better player in Giannis, the better player, best player in the series, and Dame with his clutch shooting and whatnot. But I don't know. I I can't even say. I just don't know what Celtics we're gonna get. Right.
Yeah. Like I think last year, like when they went down 0-3,
Mm-hmm.
I was like, wow. Like I knew they were gonna win a game after that. So I'm
Yeah.
like, there's no way they're going down like that with
They're
this
not that
talent. But
sorry.
like
Yeah.
the fact they went to a game seven after being down 0-3 was it's just like emblematic of like the team. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of like a Jekyll and Hyde situation. You don't know what you're gonna get with the team. And to see a game like this, I get it. They clinched playoffs throughout um they clinched home field. I was trying to
Mm-hmm.
get that out of my mouth. But um yeah, like that's huge on the surface because like, oh okay, they're number one seed throughout the playoffs. But like everybody's a doubting Thomas about this team right
Mm-hmm.
now. And until they prove it that they're a completely different team with Porzingis and um
And Holiday.
yeah, and Holiday, but then also take into account that you elevated Derek White, you benched Al Horford to make this move happen. Until they prove they can do this, like in the first round, not let games go to game six because
Mm-hmm.
not because the other team doesn't have players too, but because they're that dominant. I'll trust that they're ready to make a finals run.
Yeah. I need to see a spanking in the first round, whoever they get. Now, there's a chance they get the Sixers, and that is gonna be tough.
Or the Bulls.
That's
And
true.
that's gonna be a wild shot. But like even if we get out even if the Bulls get out of the playoff game, playing game, like we're gonna be facing the Celtics, number one.
Yeah.
And I'm saying this as a Bulls fan, Celtics should sweep the Bulls
Mm-hmm.
for the way this team is constructed.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's what they said in, what was it, '09 when it went to a game seven somehow.
Yeah.
Was that '09? There was some. Yeah.
I think that was D Rose's second season
Mm-hmm.
because I
Yeah.
think he was drafted in '08. Man, now you just got me in the feels, bro. Because now I'm thinking about Rose and Butler and like how we were up 2-1 on LeBron. We should have been up 3-1 with the David Blatt like timeout call they shouldn't have made when they didn't have any timeouts left. And then
Mm-hmm.
LeBron hits the game winner because the refs missed a fake timeout call.
Okay.
Fight. Thanks, man.
No problem.
um, but no, 2009 was good times. But um, basically here, Celtics shouldn't have lost this game, but I think their head is focused on the playoffs right now. It's
Yeah.
just who they are. They tend to not care about this type of game. So
Mm-hmm.
like I'm not surprised by like the fact that they lost the Bucks, but
Yeah.
I think they shouldn't play with their food for too long. I think they should really lock in on the playoffs, and we won't really see the effects of this until round one. So remains to be seen what kind of team we're going to get out of them.
No, definitely. I'm excited. This that just this matchup in the playoffs would also be interesting, but it wouldn't happen to the Eastern Conference Finals because they're 1 and 2 seeds. So
Yep.
could be setting up something interesting.
Another interesting matchup we saw was the Hawks and the Heat. Double H's over here. What did you see?
Yeah. One thing I saw, Tyler Hero playing like it was the 2020 playoffs. Crazy, man. He was hitting some shots. He was hitting anything he wanted and ones, makes a free throw. He was definitely him there. Jimmy Butler wasn't terribly notable for me. Uh Bam was doing some stuff. Oh, Jaime Hakas. He was on. There's one possession where he got like he just him himself, not the Heat. Jaime Hakas himself got like 3 offensive rebounds straight. and they didn't get a bucket from it, but like the hustle, like I don't as much as I don't love the Heat because like I don't love how streaky they are. I don't understand how they did what they did last year. I think they're a reasonable team. Rozier obviously adds to them as well. I think they could be something, but they still have to fight through the play-in, right? And then face whoever they have to face. So, and I also think this team is a lot weaker than last year. I mean, you don't have Struce, you don't have Vincent. Yeah, it's just you've added you've added guys, but I don't know how that works, But also, you didn't have Hero last year, so there's a lot of. It's just I feel like I can't say anything about them because I don't know what's gonna happen. Same with the Celtics, but like in the complete opposite direction. Like the Celtics are this good, but they could play this bad in the playoffs. But then the Heat are like this good and could play this great in the playoffs. So it's very, very interesting
What
to
did
see
you
what.
think of Nikola Jovic? He
Oh
had
yeah,
23 points and 8 rebounds.
he's getting a lot more playing time. He's been doing more stuff there, and especially with his size, I think he's listed at small forward, but he must be at least like 6'9", 6'8", maybe 6'10" even. So he's got a lot of size and really good rebounder and can attack the paint. So
Really good three
definitely,
point shooter too. He went 5 for 8. That's
mm,
crazy.
that is nice. That's an interesting player for them to have. Someone I think everyone is trying to get at least a few players that are in that long 6'8", 6'10" ish height. I mean, that's what the Mavs got in PJ Washington, which we'll talk about later. So it's definitely a type of player everyone wants on their team.
And I guess my only other question, since I didn't even watch this game at all,
Hmm.
like, is DeJounte Murray. Like, people have been like obviously like focused on like how many shot attempts he's been taking
Yeah,
lately for sure. He took 31 shots in this game. Um, Hunter took 23 shots in his game himself. He only hit two threes. But like, what do you think the shot distribution looks like once Trey Young comes back with this team?
I just I don't know, man, because I know Trey Young loves to shoot it. Shantae Murray, like he becomes the second guy there. He needs some shots. DeAndre Hunter, I don't think has ever really been a scorer. He's more there for the defense,
Defense.
being that sort of wing guy. Clint Capella, you barely give him anything, and then what?
He's a lob threat.
Jalen, yeah, but Jalen Johnson's a scary guy on this. I think he's out right now, but he's a very scary guy on this team.
Wait,
Uh,
he got injured lately? I thought he played
how did he
23
did?
minutes.
No, he did. Okay, I'm wrong then. But
No worries.
he's a very hyper athletic guy who's starting to learn how to shoot in his first year. I'm pretty sure. So he's very interesting guy to look at in the future. Um, one tidbit that I saw from like NBA University on Twitter is that of the like five, or was it five, of like the worst net rating teams in the league, starting fives or net of the worst 5-man lineups in the NBA, the Hawks have two of them, which are basically all their starters with either DeAndre Hunter or it wasn't Garrison Matthews. DeAndre Hunter.
Bogdanovich?
Maybe. No, I think he's off the bench, but basically two of those lineups were Hawks lineups with Trae Young and DeJounte Murray and Clint Capella on them, which is
Okay.
crazy to think about. That team is like a -6.
Wow.
Yeah, like I just I don't know. I just don't trust that Trae Young's like ideal offense, which is kind of Luka ball, right, in a way. But he's just not big enough to kind of handle getting doubled. He's not big enough to handle fouls or strong enough. So that I think kind of dissuades you from leaning into that. And I don't know what the Hawks would do from here. I mean, they're spending all this money. They made this big trade for DeJounte Murray to just barely be in the plane, to barely be 500 year over year. It's a tough investment to make. So I don't know what they want to do there. I wonder where they're going after this year because there's so much chatter about them trading DeJounte or doing something else with him. So,
I think Kendrick Perkins was trying to allude to Trey Young is going to go to the
oh
Lakers,
yeah, yeah.
and if that happens, it looks like they would commit to Dejounte Murray, but I wonder what would happen to the rest of the team.
Hmm.
Um, yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know because like they just made this coaching change to let's say
True.
like Trey Young,
Yeah.
and now if he's gone the year after, it's like was that Luka Doncic trade really worth it? As a Mavs fan, you're probably happy about that, but
No, I am. It's just I don't know. I'm obviously biased because I haven't liked Trey Young ever since he was at Oklahoma. So I'm definitely the wrong person to be asking about this, but I just don't like the style of basketball he plays. He's a great player. He can put up points for you, but I mean, I also don't want to say like the Eastern Conference Finals was a fluke, but you get you have to have a certain bit of luck to play Ben Simmons at the peak of his just breakdown for that to happen. So I don't know. I have no idea where this Hawks team is going. But Jalen Johnson, I'm down if they tear everything up, keep Jalen Johnson and see where it goes. That's what I'm rooting for. Makes no sense, but I'm so down.
Or better yet, trade Jalen Johnson to the Mavs.
That'd be crazy for them to do, but I'm so down.
Yeah, well, one team who tore one guy who torched the Hawks for 70 points, Luka
Yep,
Doncic. He's looking like a serious contender. Do you think
he
the
is.
rest of the Mavs are looking like contenders as much as Luka's looking for MVP? I'm gonna
Well,
step out for a bit, but I'm still on, so I can hear you.
all right. Luca, you ask me, Luca MVP the Luca MVP discourse. If anyone asked me about that, I could go on and on for at least 30 minutes just saying like Luca has carried this team from being deep in the play-in to out of that completely as a 60 clinched already with games left with stretches without Kyrie, stretches with a team with no size. You don't have any players besides Lively over 6'10. Then he gets injured. It's just I feel like, and especially the defense we're playing right after the All Star break, having one of the worst defenses going into now with big guys with size, PJ Washington guarding guys, locking up Wemby, locking up KD, locking up Kuzma, but like what that's not really a compliment, but like it's just this team has just changed completely, and I'm so happy for it, and I think they could definitely beat the Clippers some way, shape, or form, and I don't know how far they can go because they could do it. They could go all the way. I mean, it just depends on where things fall. But I really like the Mavs right now. I think they're really serious. I mean there's 15-2 in their last 17 games. So kind of on a
Is that pretty
heater.
good?
I don't know. Would have liked to go undefeated, but we're chilling. One of those games was without Luca though, against the Thunder, and we only lost by 7. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. Wow.
But
No,
yeah.
I was about to say I didn't realize I was unmuted beforehand because I put my mic up.
Mm.
But um yeah, dang, you really had to make Kuzma catch a stray there. That's
Yeah,
insane.
it was
But
so
no,
bogus of me.
that's great defense, man. It's really I think
Mhm.
I think more than anything, I just appreciate how like the Mavs built like a well-rounded team when a
Mhm.
lot of critics were like, you can't have a backcourt of like Luca and Kyrie because defense and just talked about it with the Bucks. I think this is like a perfect team that can account for their deficiencies
Yeah.
on the defensive end, and they've done a great job of that. And from I haven't watched a Mavs game in a while, but when they faced the Nuggets, I saw
Yeah.
Luka Doncic playing solid defense. I saw him getting
Mm.
steals. I know he has the I know he has it in him to play with effort.
Mhm.
So that's not out of the question for me. It's like, can you get that on a consistent basis in the playoffs? That's my only question with this team.
Yeah.
Offensively, I think they're one of the best in the league. Best of the league. You saw them hold off the Warriors. Like they can hold their own offensively with just about anybody, but
Mhm.
it's the defense that's going to help win the championships. If you're talking about going against Denver and the Celtics,
Yeah.
and I know they beat Denver. I really know that they beat Denver, but it's you're gonna have to face your former player on your team
Yeah.
if you go up against the Celtics in the finals. You're gonna have to go up against a lot of great wing defenders, a lot of players that play consistently, like well off each other. A lot of off ball, a lot of effort plays. Can you handle that? Can
Mhm.
Kyrie handle going to Boston and getting booed every other
Yeah.
possession? We'll see. But I'm buying in on the Mavs. I am buying in on the Mavs.
Cool.
I think them as like a top 5 seed right now isn't doing them justice. maybe it's the win count, but like
Mhm.
I think they could take on the Timberwolves. I think they can take on the Thunder. I could easily see them trying to knock out like either one of these teams. And see, right now, um, who are they projected to face? The Clippers.
Yeah.
They've they've normally handled that matchup really well. Like
Mhm.
Luca's torched the Clippers for whatever reason, and that's just been the oddest situation to me because normally the Clippers are like the one team you do not want to face because of that
Yeah.
lockdown defense. So like
Mhm.
that's gonna be a very fun first round draw, but I think the Mavs have an equal chance of winning that as much as the Clippers. Um, as much as I like the Clippers personally because I love great
Yeah.
defenders collected on our team, but I also love how the way like the Mavs built their team. So like
Mhm.
there's a lot of things to think about here. If they win this matchup, they're gonna suffer the same fate as Orlando. They're gonna have to face the one seed.
Mhm.
They better hope the Timberwolves win the night
Yeah.
because I wouldn't want to face the Nuggets until the conference championship.
Yeah. The
If
latest.
they have to
Yeah.
face the finals, sorry, if they have to face the Nuggets in the second round, that's going to be more of a difficult draw.
Mhm.
Like for like how serious of a contender they should be considered. But assuming they don't have to run into the Nuggets until the conference championship, who I think the Nuggets can make it back there, I think the Mavericks are in good shape. That's all you could ever ask for. Do
Yeah.
not forget, this team was in the conference championship 2 years ago.
Yeah. I I think one big thing about this Clippers matchup is that the last time we played the Clippers in 2021, going to a game seven, the guy guarding Kawhi, the starting player guarding Kawhi was Maxi Kleber or Dorian Finney-Smith. And now we have PJ Washington, who I think is better as a defender overall, but also a shooter. Like overall player, he's better. I think he's maybe younger. I don't know, but and then size. We Maxi Kleber. It was either Maxi Kleber at center at that time. I think Porzingis might have been out, or he wasn't even on the team anymore. No, he's probably just out. But Maxi Kleber, or you had a Boban, who literally played minutes in that series. Those were your centers. Maybe Willie Cauley Stein. Like, and that's a big thing. It's like we went from Willie Cauley Stein and JaVale McGee to um to Daniel Gafford and Derek Lively, guys that true before they got on the Mavs didn't have a lot of attention. But Luca makes good rim running centers so much better. And like I was saying before off air, Daniel Gafford could break that Wilt Chamberlain record because he's already back to 21 field goals made
Yeah,
after losing the streak like in mid March. Like it took him less than a month to get back to it. That's crazy. And obviously
yeah.
he just shoots interior shots, but like that's it's just Luca makes it so easy for those guys. So I think because of that, it's just a very interesting team, very great dynamic. I'm very excited to see how far we can go. And I think like you said on the defense, the big I think the big advantage Luca has over Trey in that sense is that Trey Young has to guard the point guard because anyone else he guards is a mismatch. He's too small to guard a bigger player, and he's fast, but he's not strong enough to guard like a regular sized point guard. Luca can guard. He can guard like up to the four because he's a better strong body that can't be like posted up as easily. Now, granted, he sometimes doesn't give that much effort or he's not that fast, but like in the comeback win against the Rockets, he like blocked Jabari Smith, a 6'10" guy, 2 inches taller than him, to kind of seal the game. Well, seal the game. It was we were up by 12, but still. Uh, I just think this team, especially the buy-in from everyone, this team has looked a lot different than it has in the last few years, and I'm very interested. I'm very interested to see where we can go.
Yeah, as you're saying this, my favorite player, Dame, is continuing to torch the Magic, getting his foul calls. They're up
Yeah,
by 16 right now, but
yeah.
um, the, I'm assuming the Mavs are doing the same thing to the Heat.
Well, we were up by 20 at one point, and now we are up by we're up by like just over 10 or under 10. I'm scared.
Oh, okay.
Let's see the scoreboard come up.
Yeah, we might have to change the answer to that question then on how serious of a
Are they just
contender.
not taking the score? Okay, wait, it's about to come up. Never mind.
Oh, good.
Please.
Well,
All right.
you have it. Oh, okay.
No,
Never mind. Okay.
I'm pulling it up
We'll
separately.
get the score shortly from them, but I think.
We're up by
As
8.
far up by 8. Okay, so very close game. The Heat have kept it there.
Yeah.
Um, in any case, I think the Gafford and the PJ Washington thing on offense and Lively too. It's
Mhm.
like another product of like the gravity that
Yeah.
like Luca and Kyrie have. And they just need to learn how to play off each other.
Mhm.
And the thing we were concerned about like when Kyrie went to the Mavs was like, can Luca play at a faster pace? Is he gonna slow down the entire offense? And I think you're seeing like the full effects of like how two offensive players can like help transform a system and
Mhm.
just give them the right personnel to make it work. And now, like, if you think about guys like Nicola, like LeBron, like Luca, they can make any pass in the book
Yeah.
and they can make the right reads. They always make the right reads. Even Draymond makes the right reads.
Mhm.
Steph makes the right reads. Like, you need players with high basketball IQ, and Luca's such a high basketball IQ type player that he knows how to put Gafford and Lively in positions where they don't have to be forced to take elbow jumpers or baseline jumpers, where it's not part of their game.
Yeah.
They can use their strengths, which is posting up or like getting lob dunks or like setting picks, like causing havoc on the rebounding side of things. Like, there's a lot of things the Mavs can do well. They're closers. They have a lot of depth. They have a
Mhm.
lot of athleticism when they need to. Like, they play hard on the defensive end. They got a crafty head coach that can scheme up great plays. That's
Yeah.
worked with multiple point guards like this. Was a point guard himself, very great one at that. And you're just seeing the fruits of their labor right now. And they're they got a real shot. I'm telling you. I'm sure you're not counting them out as a fan,
No.
but I wouldn't count this team out, even though they're at the 5 seed. I've said it all along. Um, this team is here to play.
Yeah. One last tidbit is just Dante Exum. He hit a game tying three to make to kind of give us another step into overtime against the Rockets on Sunday to win in overtime. And I mean, this guy's shooting 50% from deep, having after having not played in the NBA for 2 years. That's crazy. And when we signed Dante Exum, I was like, okay, whatever, like another body. But he has become a completely different player for us than he's ever been in his career, and I'm very excited to see and he just the decisions he makes as well. I think he had the ball to start that play, passes it to Luca, kind of goes away a little as he sees Luca getting doubled. He gets the pass, shoots a shot, and it's just perfect, and he goes straight through. It's the type of game he's playing is different than anyone like at that level, even at that like pay. He's getting paid nothing, so I love it.
This is the best team Luca's had, and
Oh,
like
for sure.
as like a Dante Exum fan,
Yeah,
I like he was a high value draft pick that like
lottery pick. Yeah.
didn't pan out in Utah. And just to see him like thrive now, I'm just super happy to hear that.
Mm-hmm.
We've talked about it in the beginning of the like towards the first half of the season too. I'm like shining moments on like what Dante Exum did, and it's very cool to see. Happy for the player. Um, but yeah, no, Mavs got a lot of depth now. Like, I was first skeptical about all their trade deadline moves because I
Yeah.
know you represented them. I didn't think it would pan out this way. I thought they had needed to keep Seth Curry to like
Mhm.
really unlock the outside of this team,
Yeah.
but I think making the moves they did really did more good than bad,
Mhm.
and you could clearly see that. So, all
Yeah.
right, let's talk about the rest of the playoff picture. I know most of like the standings are pretty intact here.
Mhm.
Um, for like playing tournaments and playoffs, it's just a matter of seeding. So, um, what do you want to start with, Eastern or Western Conference? What do you think's more fun?
I mean, the Western Conference is definitely a lot more fun in my opinion.
Okay, all
But
right,
yeah, it's
that's
just more
fair.
exciting. I don't know. Even though there
You
is
don't know what's gonna
activity
happen.
on
Yeah.
the East. Yeah. So, are we just going through the initial playoff matchups as of right now?
Yeah. We could just talk through our matchups and see like um what are your thoughts on like the matches first off, and then where do you see playoffs going? Like if you saw these teams like square
Mm.
off in the right seeds they are right now. So we can start from the
Yeah.
play-in group. At 7 right now is the Suns. They're one game out of the last playoff spot held by the Pelicans.
Hmm.
Then after Suns at 7, it's the Kings at 8. You got the Lakers at 9 and the Warriors at 10. I know we discussed this a lot. Um, we're not very high on the Kings from last time we discussed, but who do you think's winning like a Golden State and Lakers matchup
It's
to play
just
another game to get into the playoffs?
I don't know, man. The Lakers, both teams, the Lakers especially have been really hot recently, and that just shows you the power of the West. That they've been hot.
They
I
lost
think,
two straight.
well, okay. Aside from that, before that, I mean, I guess, uh, winning
They're
like
7-3 in their last 10 games.
yeah,
To
and
be fair,
over like third since the All Star break, they've been winning a bunch of games, in like net, but like they've been playing at this level, at this reasonable level, but everyone else in the West is playing just as well. That doing that well doesn't mean enough. Like you're just at par at that point, which is crazy. So anyway, though, I think they can beat the Warriors just because size a little bit. I feel like I don't know. It is kind of a toss up, to be honest, because it also depends on shooting luck on that day as well. Because obviously Steph Curry, greatest shooter. Klay Thompson, if he gets on one, it's kind of hard to stop with just both of them. Pajemski they're a good overall team. So I'll say I want the Lakers to win, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Warriors do as well. Obviously, really well matched. So yeah, I'll go Lakers coming out of that.
I'm gonna go with the Warriors here.
Hmm.
I think last year when they squared off against each other, Golden
Yeah.
State really didn't realize their personnel, and I
Hmm.
think they made the Chris Paul move for a reason.
Yeah.
And Jonathan Kuminga has made a ton of strides. Then obviously having him and Wiggins go off a slot cut's been really huge for that team. And
Hmm.
Pudzianski's been a gem as well. I
Yeah.
think they have the personnel now that they can win a matchup with the Lakers. I get it. Anthony Davis is going to be a hard matchup,
Hmm.
but the shooting of Steph Curry and Klay Thompson, nobody's been able to figure it out. Plus, you got a Draymond Green to facilitate all that.
Yeah.
As long as he doesn't get himself ejected, the Warriors win this matchup.
Yeah, I can see that. Definitely, definitely could, it's possible. So I guess we go to 7-8 then. Suns Kings. I see the
I
Suns
think,
coming out.
yeah, me too. I was just about to say, I think we both think the same on here. The way the Kings have been reeling, I think
Hmm.
the Suns find a way out of this. And then, um, if you even want to go further, I think the winner of the Lakers and the Warriors is going to the 8 seed
Really?
because
Yeah.
I think as it stands now, like the Kings are gonna have a tough time facing the winner of LeBron versus Steph. And to
Yeah.
think that's like a 9-10 matchup is insane. But like
Oh yeah, yeah.
if like in that moment, it's like an NBA Finals game,
Hmm.
like just to
Game
get in the
7.
playoffs. That's
Yeah.
it's I the Kings need to rise up to that pressure. Now, if they beat the Suns, completely different story.
Oh
But
yeah.
like that's the one team holding them back. And especially from what I watched with the Thunder last night, if they play like they did then in the play-in games, I think they're out of it very quickly.
Hmm. Yeah, I think they've lost all momentum. For a while they were going really hard, but this is also a team that like gave up I don't know how large lead to your Bulls in Sacramento in the fourth. Like this is a team that can definitely like just flake out of a game. So they either need to lock in or just accept that they're not making it out of the play in this year. So but I think uh yeah, yeah. Then the no matter what, if Phoenix wins, they move on, so that they don't play anyone else until
Yep.
the playoffs. So yeah, I agree with that. I don't think the Kings could beat the Warriors or the Lakers. It's possible. I'm not gonna put a lot of stock in it just because they're just not playing well.
Yeah. Um, moving on to like 1 through 6. I guess for
Hmm.
1 and 2, it's probably either going to be Denver or Minnesota at this point.
Yeah.
With let's see, what is it? Game they're going to both play their 80th game tonight, so
Hmm.
that's going to largely determine the 1 and 2 seeds. Regardless, I think Denver's going to end up. Well, I think Denver's going to end up with the number 1 seed.
Okay.
I could be very well surprised,
Yeah.
but if the Lakers match up against Denver or the Warriors match up against Denver, I still think Denver has a strong chance to win the series. So
Hmm.
um, I don't see Denver losing like their first round series at all. I think they're too well oiled the machine or like a well regarded champion that people should value them as such. I feel like
Yeah.
even after winning the title, people think, oh, a team like the Warriors or the Lakers could take them. I don't see
Mm.
that at this level, granted the way that neither team has an answer for Jokic.
Yeah.
So don't know how he stumbled on this name. We've been talking about him and
Jokic.
glossing over him for
Yeah.
like this entire year. But um both like there's no answer for him.
Hmm.
Like he's figured it out. He's figured out how to play like this in the playoffs. He's gonna continue being him. And I don't think the Lakers and the Warriors have what it takes to um take him down. So whoever wins that one in the play-in is not like I think they're gonna fall to the
The
Nuggets. And then
Nuggets.
while I'm at it, talking about the Timberwolves, this is a sneaky one with the
Hmm.
Suns. Like
Yeah.
part of me thinks that the Timberwolves can pull out a first round series, but they're also like they give me a lot of Grizzly vibes where like
Mm.
I could see the Suns win that first round matchup just because of sheer talent. But
Yeah.
that would probably be my wild first round selection, I had to guess.
Yeah. So Nuggets. I mean, Nuggets are just kind of a lock. I would, if the Warriors make it out, I would love to see the Nuggets just curb stomp them just to get revenge after 2022 getting. I think they got swept that year by the Warriors. So it'd
Yeah.
be a good kind of get the last laugh for the Nuggets.
Dynasty what?
Yeah, exactly. And even then, I also think they could beat the Lakers. It just Jokic is unguardable. Like, there's nothing you can do against him. And like in the Mavs game, like you literally have to get lucky to beat them. You have to get lucky in that Jokic isn't playing well, or that you just make a game-winning shot. So it's gonna be tough. Timberwolves, I could agree. Timberwolves could beat the Suns. Or the other way, the Suns could beat the Timberwolves because of their offense. But the only worry I have is that like their net rating in the fourth is super low, and so how does
Meaning the
that
Suns.
translate? Yeah, the Suns. How does that translate into playoffs where every possession matters as if it was the fourth quarter? Because that's what it is of the season. This is the season's fourth quarter. This is time to show who you are, how you play, and if you deserve to win a championship. So I don't know, like scoring wise, like on paper, I don't think they should have too many problems. But I also think also I don't know how Cat fits into this if he's gonna get back. So
Yeah.
yeah.
That's the big variable here. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's a tough injury, and it's probably the same thing we're gonna be talking about with Giannis and coming back. Like
Yeah.
it's our whole concern why we hate it that players are getting injured this late.
Yeah.
But that plays a role with it too. I get it. Anthony Edwards has been playing out of his mind
True.
this season. This is not on
Hey,
him.
yeah. Who's guarding Anthony Edwards? That's the real question. Josh Okogie, I mean, I don't even think he really plays that much for them. That's
Yeah,
one thing that could really swing the tide,
Grayson
sway the
Allen,
tide.
baby.
Grayson Allen, gee, hey, he's a shooter though. I can't act like he's not out here. Like I think he's hitting like 40, like high 40s, maybe 50% from three. I could be wrong, but that's a big thing
Can't
for the
flop
Suns
him.
this summer. Like he's a free agent. Do they keep him? They're already spending a bunch of money on three guys. So
Let's see.
we'll see.
I can't I can't see his no, that can't be right. It's
But
49 and a half from field goals.
okay,
Where's his 3-point percentage? He's shooting 45.7% from 3-point range.
that's nasty, man. That's
That's
amazing.
that's literally that's literally just like half. That's
Yeah,
that's literally just like
that's
what
wild,
the
man.
heck?
He's
He's
balling.
making like 9 out of 20.
Hmm.
That's really good.
No,
That's
it's
really
huge.
really good. Yeah. But I mean, like Suns going over the Timberwolves is like a puncher's chance. Like
Hmm.
whenever I say that, I think about like the D'Antoni Houston Rockets, like going up against the Golden
The
State
Warriors.
Warriors.
Yeah.
They can win, but like they have to win a specific way. If they
Hmm.
don't win that way, they're not winning. So
No, that makes
that's
sense.
pretty much where it's at there.
Yeah.
Um, Thunder and Pelicans could be another one that's really a
Hmm.
toss up. Um, but I'm gonna give the edge to the Thunder here. I
Hmm.
think they have more like unicorns than the Pelicans do that you got to take into account. And I
Hmm.
get it. like the Thunder typically struggle against like unicorns like Zion or like
Yeah,
Anthony Davis. Like they they're like the type of team to struggle against the Pelicans or the Lakers just because of like the amount of
size.
size those teams could offer. But I think the Thunder have found themselves again. I think um, their head coach is a coach of the year candidate, really great offensive mind, and I get it. Herb Jones has been amazing, but he can't stop Chet and Shy and all the weapons that OKC is going to continue to assemble because they have a million draft picks in the
Hmm.
first round. So
Yeah. I just wonder who's guarding Zion. But also I know New Orleans likes to play small ball. Larry Nance Jr. has kind of gotten into that. I don't know if that's a counter to Chet. He's obviously a lot shorter. So we'll see. I would say the Thunder as well, just because I think they're a better team. But again, Herb Jones, I would be here to see a Herb Jones defensive masterclass on Shea, and just showing showing that like good defender could claim him up. But we'll see. We'll see.
100%. Yep. Last matchup. Um, I'm not going to ask you because you're going to be biased. You're going to say the
Yeah.
Mavs.
Yeah.
I'm going to say the Mavs as well.
Good man.
They typically do well against the Clippers,
Hmm.
and Kawhi's been always been one of my favorite players. But like, I just think Clippers are reeling a little bit right now,
Yeah.
and
In the worst time.
yeah, and I just think the Mavericks are like getting hot at the right time too, where they already know like what kind of team they have. They
Hmm.
know what they need to do on both sides of the ball. It's the best team Luka's been on, and these are the moments where he usually shines the brightest, where his averages tick up a bit, which is crazy to think about because he's averaging what like mid 30 points a
Yeah,
game.
he's averaging like 33.9 points a game and like
Wow,
high nines on assists and rebounds.
wow,
Yeah.
dang near a triple double here.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I can see it. We'll see. We'll see if they can treat us to a nice win.
Moving on to the Eastern Conference there. Um, I'm remaining hopeful on the Mavs. I think it's going to be a good playoff run for them.
Yeah.
But in the
So start
playing
with the
spot, we
Lightning.
got Sixers and the Heat. Um, this one is going to be wildly dependent on Joel Embiid,
Mm-hmm.
and but I think the Sixers can win this one. I know it's tough, and the Heat were just in like
This
the NBA
position.
Finals, but
Oh yeah.
like you got to think about last year too. Like they didn't win their first matchup.
Mm-hmm.
They initially they had to struggle against Chicago of all teams, like
Yeah.
latest the 14, and then they won that matchup to even get into the playoffs. So I'm looking I'm looking at this like kind of the same way and saying like the Heat almost play like they have nothing to lose in this like
Mm-hmm.
situation like this. And I think the Sixers have built around enough with like Heald, Maxey, and Embiid that they're more well rounded. They have a better head coach now that can account for like whatever wrinkles Spoelstra will throw at them.
Yeah.
So I think the Sixers take this one. I'm obviously going to pick the Bulls over the Hawks, and then um, I think the Bulls can take the Heat this time. I think they have a lot more different personnel and
Mm-hmm.
better offensive players, and like Kobe White and
Yeah.
Dosunmu from a year ago, that they can win that matchup with the Heat where they were like in a nip and tuck game with 3 minutes left in the quarter. So
Mm-hmm. No, yeah. I'd agree. Sixers can win just because Bam Adebayo is great. Bam Adebayo is a great defender, but against Joel Embiid, like I don't know. I don't know if he could do all that against Joel Embiid, especially with Buddy Hield around him. Like Nick Batum playing some great ball in like year, I don't know, like 15 million for him. He's like 40. Kyle Lowry, also old, but interesting.
feels like a while since he's been on the Hornets.
Yeah. Oh, you mean
Batum.
Batum?
Yeah.
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 No, that feels like a fever. Like that feels like a conspiracy theory. Like that's not true, but it
Like
happened.
Kid Gilchrist, Batum, like Kemba
Yeah.
Walker. Like,
Tony. I don't know if
wow.
he was there with Tony Parker, but Tony Parker also played there for
Yeah.
some reason. That was just weird. Um, wait. Oh, Max Midi. Okay, sorry. Um, so yeah, I think the Sixers win that one, and then yeah, I'll go for the Bulls just because I don't like Trae Young, but also like Trae Young, like just getting in now, like how well are they? How good are they gonna play with a guy who hasn't played in like a month? So yeah,
That's a tough one. Bobby Portis got revenge on Jonathan Isaac with a nice like
yeah,
baseline turnaround fade there.
nice.
But yeah, Bucks still dominating up by 19 here in the waning seconds of the third quarter.
You
I
won't give it.
think this is a team that's shown they can play without Giannis as well.
Yeah,
But
no, that's interesting. Uh,
and on that note, like I think we got our 7 and 8 seeds
mm-hmm.
pretty much locked up with like Sixers
And
and
Bulls.
then and Bulls. Like I think we know how the Celtics Bulls matchup is gonna go.
Yeah,
I'm not a fool. Bulls and four, obviously, but
right.
um, yeah, Celtics are probably winning that matchup. To think the Bucks and the Sixers are playing each other in the first round
Jeez.
in our simulation is
Jesus,
insane to
man.
me. Um, and as much as I like what the Sixers are doing, I have to go with the Bucks here. I think they're
Mm,
too well rounded. I think they've amped up their defense a lot more, and they have the personnel now where they can make a deep run. So I'm gonna say the Bucks, but I think this is a series that can go 6 or 7 easily,
mm-hmm.
and it's not your typical 2-7 matchup.
No, definitely. This this could be a problem for the Bucks in the first round. I mean, again, who guards Joel Embiid? Giannis, all right, but it's just
He's
Tyrese
dealing with a
Maxey.
cap
So,
string. Yeah,
oh, right. So if he's in, he has to guard him, and even then, you wouldn't want that to be the case. And then who guards Tyrese? You would think Pat Bev is do like Pat Bev might do something to Tyrese Maxey, but he's not locking up Tyrese. Tyrese Maxey is too fast.
he's gonna live rent free in his head, man.
Yeah, well, he
Just
will be
watch.
doing that. That is something. At least like actual defensive tactics of regular basketball, Pat Bev can't do much. But all those other like dark arts that I know he's a master at, he will be employing. I don't doubt that. But I think it could be a tight series, depending on it could be a tight series if the Sixers really come to play. If they are really locked in, and especially after a big game to like beat the Heat like that, a team that had beat them multiple times in the playoffs, to kind of give Jimmy Butler that again last laugh like the Nuggets would like to do to the Warriors. I'm very interested in seeing that. So I'm picking the Sixers. Or
Over the
am I picking
Bucks.
the
Wow.
Sixers? Fuck it. I'm picking the Sixers over the Bucks.
Dang.
Uh,
Okay.
that was
You're
Matt.
going for the 2/7s here. Okay. Wow. Both conferences. Definitely.
Yeah, I guess.
You must have had a great tournament bracket to be doing this, man.
Yo, no, for the men's tourney, I picked the final and I picked UConn to win.
Wow.
I
That
know,
that
ball.
was just they were just a very deep team. Like I saw this
Mhm.
first half. I didn't get to watch the second half because I fell in the middle of watching it. Again,
Yeah,
Eastern Conference time zone sucks.
yeah,
Okay. But I was like, oh, okay, this is a very close game. I picked Purdue plus 6.5. I'm like,
really.
okay, Edie can hit 15
Yeah,
points, four
that was
boards.
a lock.
Thing can do the same. I didn't hit my 5 leg parlay. I was so
Yeah,
upset. I
that's tough.
missed up on the Purdue like to cover the spread there, and then also um, Klingon not hitting 15. I'm like, you got to be kidding me.
That
Of
is kind of
course, like Edie has like 37 points. I could have maximized that a lot more, but
yeah,
even then, I didn't hit my parlay, so pretty upset over here. But
yeah,
um, yeah, I mean, this is ballsy, man. This is very ballsy.
very ball.
Um, Going to the 3 and 6 matchups, you see the Knicks versus the
Ooh,
Pacers. Very intriguing matchup here.
yeah.
I know early in the season we were really excited about the Pacers offense because they had like one of the best offensive
Mhm.
efficiencies in the league. Um, Now it just feels bleh. Like
Yeah,
I don't know. Like I would pick the Knicks over here. And I know I've been really hard on the Knicks, but I think they know how to play with the personnel they have now around Jalen Brunson. And it's
mhm.
really like whether Randall's here or not, they can play like an upper echelon East team.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is just or not Maxey, Tyrese Halliburton has really been like the like however he plays, where how he goes, the Pacers go, and it's been really tough for them to just like get back on track, I guess, because they were great. they got far in the in-season tournament, couldn't finish it out. They got to the final, and I don't know. I guess it caught up to them playing so fast, so recklessly. So yeah, I would agree the Knicks just because even though they are still better, they aren't 100%. I think they're a better overall team.
Yeah.
This Pacers team, I feel like still has to find themselves. While the Knicks know they know what they're doing. They're playing their five like
Who's
45.
stopping Josh Hart from the offensive
Yeah,
boards?
yeah.
He's been one of the best offensive rebounders, like out of guards in the league. Like
Hmm.
you can't match up. Like, are you trying to tell me Halliburton is going to stop him? I don't think so.
No, and yeah, Jalen Brunson. I mean, I just the Knicks play a certain way where every guy plays so many minutes that they're super into their game that I think they have a good shot of winning the series.
Yeah. All right. That leaves us with our last matchup for tonight. We got the Orlando Magic versus the Cleveland Cavaliers. And although both teams are on a losing streak, the Magic are about to lose two in a row.
True.
Um, I think the Magic, like I mentioned earlier in this episode, can make it to the second round of the playoffs with the
Hmm.
way they built this team. It's young, it's talented, great defensive team, one of the best defensive teams in the league. And they have a focal point on offense. And they have like supporting offensive cast already, despite being so young.
Hmm.
I know I described a lot of like who the Cavaliers are, but I think the Magic can win this one because based on how these teams are playing the last like 10, 15 games, the Magic look a lot better.
Yeah. Uh, you already know what I'm gonna say. Orlando Magic. Well, I'm so hyped. Like I just this song has got me feeling something, but also I would say the Cavs might have peaked at the wrong time.
Yeah.
That they had that great run, and then boom, Donovan Mitchell out for who knows what with it, like stuff with his knee. He need like a plasma like injection. Like what even is that? That's kind of
And
weird.
then he was wearing a face mask too,
Yeah,
right?
a nasal fracture. So coming back from that, he is I don't know. I don't think he's been the same. And I think a big thing there's a lot of questions about this Cavaliers roster where you have two small guards, Mitchell and Garland, who
Right.
kind of I'd say a little bit overlap each other. I mean, both kind of guards that like to have the
And
ball.
Garland's the weak link on that team on defense for me.
That too.
That's like you can get him a lot.
And then you also overlap with Jared Allen and Evan Mobley, two players that are I don't want to say they're the same player, but they're the same type of player. A big guy, good at defense, can catch rolls. I'd say Jared Allen's a bit better of a passer because of he's been in the league longer, so he knows
Mobley's
more
got the
about
shooting. He's been developing it a bit.
it.
But
But I feel like there's a lot of redundancy on this team, and so that for that reason, I'm not really supporting them. Also biased because Max Strus did what Max Strus did. Not even gonna say that word,
you're
but he's
still on that.
he's not been
Oh my
shooting well
goodness.
since that happened.
Yeah.
So he sold in that for success later on, and he shall pay. That sounded really scary. Not as scary as I wanted to seem, but you guys know what I mean.
Guys, notice how Diego laid his true like root intention and like why he picked the Magic there in that very last reason
Yeah,
for with Max Strus.
this is
This
true.
is the second guy on this podcast who hates Max Strus with a passion. Um, you could throw me as a third guy in there
Oh,
for his finals performance. Like we've been ragging on Max Juice for that, and then he
yeah,
goes in, hits a game winner on the Mavs. So he's just catching strays from this
he's
podcast
catching
for no
so much
reason.
strikes.
We
Yeah,
love Max Juice. Diego might not right now because of what he did to the Mavericks,
it's
but
okay.
um, yeah, that's too funny. And we'll end off there. Oh, we'll end off with us hating on the Cavs there, but
Like it.
um, in reality, we have no idea what's going to happen in the first round. We're just having
Oh,
fun with this. We have no idea. We have no idea what's going to even happen like at 10 o'clock tonight.
yeah,
Um, where it's time for tip off, time for me to watch the Timberwolves versus the Nuggets. Should be a great, great game.
I'm
Um,
watching it. I'm about to
but
lock in
yeah,
as well.
if you guys want to follow us on our Instagram page, it's amon.a.mission.
Yep.
You can
Oh,
also follow us. Oof,
oh,
dang, that was
I'm in
off.
a different room this time. I'm tweaking.
I'll give you a little bit of slack for that. You can also follow us on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe, like, turn on your post notifications. We'll be getting some more fun content for you next week. as we're gonna dive into the playing games, which start
Jeez,
Tuesday night.
it's crazy.
Should be fun. Maybe not for the Bulls. We'll see what happens to them. But with that, we'll see you guys later.
Yeah, peace.